Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Lobby, a new live stream series here on the HJP YouTube channel, and also a podcast where we are going to be examining studies and research done on video games, online communities, and digital media. I'm the executive director of HeatherJustPlay. If you don't know me, I'm Heather, and I'm joined by my co-host, Stefan.
Hi, yes, I'm Stefan, alternatively in community, maker and geek, and that is not for any reason. That is because I'm a maker. I go to Maker Fair. I was doing very many Twitch streams on making and also doing live streams at the Maker Fair. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart, and I transitioned once I went to Maker Faire. There was a thing about maker education, how we can combine the play, the social learning, and the hands-on authentic experience into education, like bringing fun back. Like, how we lose it after we get so old. They're like, you know what, school's not fun. We don't have fun here. So this was really a good fit where people learn and grow in education, as well as learning and growing in a community like HeatherJustPlay. So I'm honored to be here and invited to start this chat and bring in some cool stuff.
Yeah, and as some of you guys know, if you have been a follower of HeatherJustPlay, you know that we recently transformed this community into a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And part of what we want to do is kind of, spread awareness of how video games can have an impact on people. As a lifelong gamer, obviously for me, I would say I love video games. I wouldn't be who I am without video games. And, the HeatherJustPlay community makes memories and has a lot of meaningful experiences through video games. So I think there is a lot of video games haven't had necessarily the best reputation over the years. And so we kind of wanted to take this scientific look into the experiences that we have daily in the HeatherJustPlay community. And I thought Stefan was such a great person to be able to work with on this project. So I'm really excited. And today we have a study. There were many to choose from, but I'm excited about the one that we're going to be talking about today. I think it's a great introduction to this series. So, and then also we are doing this live. So if you have any questions, feel free to chime in the comments. You can interrupt us anytime, or if you want to add in your own experiences or chime in any way, feel free to do so. Tom says that everything looks and sounds terrific. Awesome.
Yay, Tom.
And yes, and then hi to Jima. Thanks for being here. And Cirilla is also here. So awesome to see Maker. Woohoo.
Thank you,
Yay.
Cirilla.
Okay, cool. So the study that we're going to be looking at today, there is a pinned comment with a link if you want to check it out. There's also a link in the description, but it's titled Exploring the Possible Mental Health and Well-Being Benefits of Video Games for Adult Players, a cross-sectional study. And one of the things that really stuck out to me is for HeatherJustPlay specifically, we are focused on adults. I think, part of the thing that I'm trying to shed light on is that, and Stefan talked about this a little bit earlier, it's not bad to continue playing video games as an adult. I think I think sometimes it's like, oh, you're immature, you still play video games. We have Jima here, who's a 73-year-old video gamer. So I like that this is specifically focusing on adult players. And as you'll see, we're going to be talking about all kinds of psychological and emotional variables that they explore in this study. So Stefan could talk a little bit about the objective of this study.
Yeah, so of course, there's mixed evidence. People say excessive use is harmful, that people will get addicted and things like that. But moderate use can have emotional, psychological, and social benefits. They're successfully used in treating anxiety and depression, And then we want to find out more. We want to try to correlate what each like video game genre and how the demographics, the well-being and the in-play psychological processes. So the 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 process or the act of playing the game, how that affects people and in their well-being and the personal feelings of like being having a positive outlook.
Yeah, and I thought that this study specifically was really interesting because it does uh it does break down the the benefits or the variables based on genre. And I think that sometimes when people think of video games, like I wonder, someone who never plays video games, if they think of, hey, that person is a gamer, what do they think? Like, what game do they think of when they think they're playing video games, right? To me, I feel like a lot of content creation on YouTube, it's a lot of like competitive games, right? Like we see people like getting really mad, or like, you have the headset on because you're collaborating with your team, or just being really emotional because there's some aspect of competition. For Tom and I, Animal Crossing was such a lifesaver during the pandemic, and that is just the total opposite of those kinds of games. So I think like, kind of using this as the first study to look at, I thought would be really interesting. So let's go ahead and continue.
So correlating video game genre and player demographics. So it's cross-sectional study. So it's a snapshot in time. It's not a longitudinal study over many many months with the same people. It's random sampling. They did use a lot of variables, 117 variables, but a lot of those included demographics, what genres they played, and then whether they perceived that they had a psychological impact. Did they come into this in this survey already thinking that there was a psychological impact, and then how those variables affected the established psychological theories that they want to talk about. So it's a multivariate, multi-regressional study. It's a big word that means they have a lot of variables on the one side, the demographics and the genres, and the other side, all of the benefits that you could potentially attain.
Yeah. And I think one thing I noticed about the study is that I think their intention, correct me if I'm wrong, Stefan, was to encourage the development of video games that specifically address anxiety or depression, or use of therapy. That's what it was. It was to
Yeah,
develop video games as a therapeutic tool, which I find
yeah, and then
interesting. I think, yeah, go ahead.
they looked at that and they wanted to figure out, well, could a game be designed that has therapeutic effects? So it's intended as the game is used for that purpose. And then they also were, because there is some bias in the study. They're like, well, if people are going to be receptive to it, then there's more likely that they can use it in therapy. If some people aren't receptive to it,
Of
then
course.
there's no point. So the fact that they went to a community of gamers to send a survey, they were like, it's good for our purposes. And so a lot of what you'll see in these studies is it's tied to a particular purpose, and so you'll see some of that here.
Yeah. And I will say, I told you stuff in this, but uh, I think it is cool that the development of video games as a form of therapy is being explored. Uh, but I also think that it can be therapeutic. Like video games can be therapeutic,
Mhm.
whether you're using it as a tool for like professional therapy or not, right? Like I
Yes,
think
like
that even,
you're
yeah, like you don't have to go, I don't know, you don't have to be a patient, I guess, to like feel the benefits or whatever, like,
Mhm.
and I think that's why I wanted to look at this specifically.
Yeah,
Cut you
your
off.
Animal Crossing examples, like, hey, you're relaxing, you're feeling good, it's
Yeah.
something you enjoy, and then you get a therapeutic benefit from that.
Really quick, I just want to check in with the comments. Cirilla says, not sure if this is something you guys were going to bring up, but my question is, what are the benefits Maker has had since becoming a new gamer with HJP? Love to hear about any benefits. I feel like we're going to be talking about that throughout, Stefan, but did you want to
Yeah.
address this at all?
Yeah, I mean, So, to your point, you're a gamer for life. I'm not. I I'm I
Self-proclaimed non-gamer.
self-proclaimed non-gamer, would not play a video game solo because I'm like, players play Doom and they're like looking for things and it just seems so monotonous. And I'm like, why would anybody do that? But I'm here for the community. That I play games. If I can play cooperatively with a group socially, then that's fun to me. And then add in the fact that I do RPGs and D&D, then Final Fantasy 14 was like, and at first I thought I was crazy. So I joined the group and I was like, oh, why to do that? I'm gonna get out again. Then I'm like, no, I've got to join. This is gonna be a great time. I'm gonna love this. And so everybody, the social aspect and everybody being so helpful and being so supportive, and then branching out into all these other games that we do. I mean, it's just growing and growing. So my experience has been fantastic in this regard. So I'm playing games and enjoying the benefit.
Mr. Non-gamer dying with us in Reaper says, or Repo.
Repo.
Yeah. Gma says, that's right. There's a lot of us still here that started with the Atari 2600 and we're still around. But Brenda is here. I think gaming can build community and provide a sense of belonging. Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly true because I feel like I belong. I feel like the people who are here, it's a lot of what happens is that you feel that right away. And when I finished the first part of Final Fantasy, it comes in sections for those who don't know. So you do the first section, and I unwittingly became part of a celebration at the end of I was like, Heather was coyingly saying, "Oh, so let me know when you're kind of doing this thing," and I was like, "Okay," and that meant that I was going to be at the end of it, and so I was. We had this whole celebration in game and I was just crying. It was just so special.
And I think that's part of HJP, like, in terms of my mission, why bother turning a video game community into a nonprofit? Your experience has been incredible to witness someone who didn't understand the point of video games, but can see it's a really unique group activity where you can feel a lot of self-confidence and there's problem solving, collaboration. We're going to talk about all of that as we get into this study, but I really like the idea of building a community around the activity of video games, but it's not, you don't have to be a gamer to be here, obviously a lot of us are, but our whole point is that everyone who is here, we're so excited to bridge the gap with non-gamers, come on in, join us. And that's kind of part of the fun is being able to relive these video games that we played for hours and hours on end, but through fresh eyes with people who are new. So Church is checking in. Hello, Church. Good to see you. Kane's here. Hey, Kay. I'm late. What I missed? You are just right on time. Marky Marker's here. Love getting into flow, the zone, and video games. We are going to talk all about this. Marky Mark. Yep. The same feelings I get in sports. There you go. And Gma's adding, for seniors, it staves away the loneliness and it keeps the brain sharp. I don't know if there's any studies that focus specifically on older adults, but I would love to take a look if there was. But yeah, Gma, your personal experience has just been awesome to be a part of and also to watch. Marky saying, it's also more fun when people around you get in the zone flow with you also. We will definitely talk about that. Bree is here. Siri, hello. And Cirilla, I love having new members like Maker joining us. It's been so fun to game with him. So what are we playing tonight, Stefan?
We're going to play that one Killbox game. What is it called?
Lethal Company?
Lethal Company.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so let's continue with the study strengths. So we had a large sample size, over 2,000 people.
Yeah. And a lot of the questions, I mean, you want to make sure when you're asking questions, you're not asking leading questions, you're not giving questions that would introduce bias. So using validated tools, validated, reliable psychometric properties to create the survey in the first place. But again, you're going to have bias, and so using validated scales rather than using just scales you use for this particular study helps you remove the measurement bias. But they also put in negatively weighted statements in there because there's acquiescence bias. It's like if you know you're getting to the end of a survey and you're not really reading the questions all throughout the whole, they're just you just had enough. So you tend to at that point pick an answer that seems positive. It may not be what you think, but there's also this social desirability bias that if you want to be perceived as a good person, there may be some judgment in there. They would tend to pick an answer that would show favorably on them. So there's lots of things that you have to be careful about, and they did their best in this regard.
Yeah, I think doing a study of this kind is going to be tricky, especially when you're talking about how people feel about video games in different genres, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be bias. There's going to be a lot of um, subjectivity.
Yeah, they're self-reporting what they feel, and when you give them a scale, it's by its
Yeah,
nature going to be not quite what, these longitudinal studies where you can ask questions and do things that kind of get at the answer from different points of view, so you can kind of get around that by asking alternative questions that kind of get the answer from different viewpoints. But that's one thing. But then there's also, again, the selection bias. They weren't really too concerned about it. They did use Facebook and they use X to survey the members of relevant media groups, the people who are gaming in the group, and then also the people in the group may have volunteered for the study because they would like to see what the link is between gaming and psychology.
right.
So they may be already predisposed to like, oh, this sounds cool, I want to be part of this. So there
Yeah,
can be some of that. And then the fact that this is a cross-sectional study, at that snapshot we talked about before, it can only
yeah,
show correlation. We're not able to show cause and effect because again, it's not longitudinal. It's not not one of these bigger things. And then in this case, it's such an organic thing. HJP is an organic thing. All of these communities that pop up in other
yeah.
areas, that it's hard to be a fly on the wall and get
Of
objective
course.
information.
Yeah,
But it does show a lot of what we see empirically every day at HJP. So it's really nice to see pulling in the science and saying, yeah, that describes the things that we're experiencing. And then again, the perception, data is subjective. So we do have to keep that in mind.
yeah. We wanted to make sure to highlight that. Like we plan to highlight these, studies' strengths and weaknesses
Mhm.
because one, we want to show that we did our research on the research, right? uh but two, it's like we are aware of the limitations because my one of my concerns in you know when I reached out to Stefan about doing this series in the first place was I didn't want to be that person. We've all seen it in today's world. I don't want to be that person who takes data from a research study that is completely out of context and I'm just using it for like my own personal gain or whatever it is, right? Like I want to make sure that we are contextualizing everything, and that's why this is going to be likely an hour and a half live stream so that we can make sure to kind of go into depth exploring all these things. So, variables. Let's talk about the variables. These variables are what they looked at, right, Stefan?
Yeah, competence, then it's non-gamer here. I'm a little low on the competence scale. And so that, I don't have any transferable skills. So, I'm up against other guys, who've been doing this a while. So it's a cycle of challenge. And video game writers know about this, right? That they design
Yeah,
the game as the levels get higher, you should have gotten some skills, and then it gets
right.
more difficult to kind of match your learning curve. But it's, you have a challenge, you have a skill test, you have an achievement. it helps you endure frustration. This is part of maker education. It's learning through failure. You actually get a better product when you fail, because the thing you come up with by using your critical thinking and your creativity to get around these obstacles ends up being better than what you started with. And then it helps you persevere, overcome obstacles. And then the sense of achievement and competency when you do something significant is proportional to the difficulty of the challenge. So as the difficulty needs to go up, because you need to have that ability to feel more accomplished and keep going with that. And then
Yeah.
autonomy. Autonomy is sort of more or less in like an RPG situation where you have an open world, you can interact with different players, you can
You have
go
choice.
through the storyline, you have choice,
Yeah.
the things you have consequences, and so
Yep.
you feel like what you're doing is matching your own destiny, but it's also your own values. That's how you get some of this, like, I'm exercising my free will to explore my own values in this context.
Yeah. Which I think 14 does a really. If we say 14, by the way, we're talking about Final Fantasy 14. It's just easier to say. This is totally like a 14 thing. I feel,
It is.
it's funny because for me, with every video game I uh, play, if there's a chance for me to create a character, I just make me. I try to make the digital version of me, and I answer the questions like I would if that were me. But there are people who are like, it's a fantasy world, like time to be the bad guy or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's cool with, that's autonomy, right? Like you have the choice whether to
Hmm.
be the bad guy or the good guy or whatever.
You do.
All right, flow.
Flow. We started out early on this one. All you sports people. Um, it's when you get into this immersion, especially like in Final Fantasy 14. I'm going to use the full thing. Um, you get this accomplishment and focus, and you lose awareness of time. This is
Hmm.
inherently pleasurable because you're on a mission to get something done, whether you're in Mario and you're like trying to beat a level and you're just like, oh, I slipped, oh, I know I can do this, and the next thing you know, like, hours have passed and you've been trying these levels over and over. So it's linked to positive effect, better performance, lower anxiety, increased self-esteem. You get this energy boost from being victorious, and then you're engaging, especially in Final Fantasy and some of the other games, multiple senses simultaneously, because and that by its nature requires significant concentration. You keep track of multiple things all at the same time. I got to protect the person, kill the monster, make sure I'm not going to kill myself, make sure I'm not low on weapons. I mean, there's lots of things to keep track of, and so that in and of itself gives you a lot of flow. And
Yes.
you want to talk about
Flow.
relatedness, or
There
you want to talk
is,
about
so
flow?
I don't know. Have you heard of the book called Flow,
No,
Stefan?
no.
There's a book. Um,
Okay.
I don't remember what his last name is. I couldn't say it if I wanted to. It's a European last name, but it's
Okay.
Mihal something. It's called Flow. And he is a psychologist that looks at, when people are seeking happiness, right? I feel like that's everyone wants to do that, be happy. They'll go for these like material things or these um one-off experiences. But what the research that he found was that people find like long-term satisfaction and I guess happiness when they are in flow state, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, video games, or for me a lot of it is like editing. I can just kind of get
Mm-hmm.
lost in creating art or whatever it is, and you just feel super in the zone, and your competence matches the challenge, right? Because if it's too hard, then you're gonna leave.
Right.
But if you feel like your skills match the task, that's the
Mm-hmm.
best freaking feeling ever.
Yeah. 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 When
um,
I'm making things, and I'm
you just
going,
get lost.
you
Yeah,
just yeah, you just get lost.
yeah.
And I think Cirilla made a good point in Marky Mark. You know,
Cirilla says, yeah, great point of difficulty levels having impact on player sense of competence. I get so much satisfaction out of doing savage raids with Clan Nutsy over the base trial fights found in the MSQ. The base trial fights are too easy. Marky says, flow is why I raid. Having team flow is crazy fun. That is super fun. I've felt aspects of that when we play. Repo and Lethal. We're kind of like everyone has, like we've gotten past the point where we're like, what does this button do, and what does this monster do, and then you kind of like you level up as a team, right? Like that competence level goes up. That's super fun. And then relatedness.
Yeah, so this is in their terms for the study in particular, relatedness is between the person in the game. So you're playing Final Fantasy 14, but your relatedness is your avatar, your character in the game. And there's a lot of that. I mean, they are all in on story and complexity and fighting, and so you have free reign to go wherever. So there's a lot to be a lot of choices to make, and so you can get a lot of relatedness through there. There are some genres that don't really they don't really do that. They don't have the story that people can get involved in. But
Tetris,
basically,
yeah.
like Tetris, you get into the flow,
Yeah.
you get that sense of relaxation, but you don't get the social integration, relating to other in-game characters, for example, or playing with other. I mean, it's really nice for me. Again, when I play, I want to play with others, and so that's where I get relatedness. I get a lot of it through the game, though. The game is so good about congratulating you, and when you do small things for people, they're like, "Oh, you saved my daughter. Oh, you're the most wonderful person," or "Oh, like you killed this beast that's this godlike creature, and you're amazing. I can't believe you did that." And so you get a lot of that throughout the game, and it makes me feel so good. And I get into the flow because they keep saying this is urgent, that we got to do this, and I don't feel like I can step away. I'm morally obligated to keep playing.
Morally obligated.
So online games can fulfill the need to belong to a community and to be valued and recognized as a source of social support. But beyond that, when you have a community, and some of these kind of spark independently, playing WoW, you have a guild, or some players will have a forum that they develop, and then they meet people and have friends of friends that get together in these forums and sort of support each other. But with HeatherJustPlay, we just have this incredible community. We're on Discord all the time. We're playing multiple games. We're all supporting each other in game and out of game. And so that relatedness is fantastic. It's something that I really enjoy, and have found that it's one of those things where like, this is home. I'm going to stay here for a while. This is great.
Aww, I freaking love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have 2 more variables. So,
Yep.
I actually thought I never even really thought about this before, but the difference between the emotional and the psychological, like being able to separate them, right?
Yep.
Because for me, it's just like the same. But emotional is happiness, optimism, contentedness, relaxation, stress reduction. That's what I feel like people, positive benefits of video games. You would think of that. But the psychological, that's creativity, that's self-confidence, that's self-acceptance, vitality, feeling energized, enthusiastic, resilient. I think that's the stuff that made me think of HJP being more than I need to just kick back after work, right? That's when I started to think like that happiness that people feel here, we can dive deeper into that, and they're happy because they're being able to express themselves in some creative way, or they're feeling self-confidence. Maybe they're leading something for the first time, and that to me translates longer, right? Like sticks with you. You carry it with you. It's like this is the part where I'm like, you level up in game, but I feel like you're also leveling up in real life.
Yeah, and to have this point, you mentioned leading something that we play lots of games. Like we play Dungeons and Dragons and Daggerheart and Repo. I have bad memory. I'm not going to remember all these things. And so people are encouraged and to if you love a game, chances
Yeah.
are other people are going to love that game, and it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
you know, have to be something that you're totally responsible for. Everybody's jumping in. So you say, "Hey, I like to do Daggerheart," so that's some Siri brought up, and they're like, how about other people? How do you feel? So it's in the idea stage. So we purposely have a long running journal on events where it's
Mm-hmm.
an idea, it becomes like viable because we have people interested. We try to
Discussion.
pick,
Yeah.
yeah, there's discussion. You know, you can lead it. You can have someone else help you lead it. You can, you know, any number of ways you want to organize that, and then you schedule an event, and people come. And then if it turns out that, you know, this is like an ongoing thing or a one time thing, you know, it's up to you and up to the players. And so we grow because we put ourselves out there, and we realize that it's not as scary as you think. We all know each other, and so,
Yeah.
you know, and we're all ready to help out.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I think like there's so many things because okay, so everything that you mentioned, I would not have been the one to pitch those because I've never played them before. Like I found out all those games that you named off
Yeah,
through
right.
the other members in HJP, right? And I
Exactly.
think that's like, you know, it's a huge reason why I transformed this community from creator centric because then it's just like what I think, right? But it's like, but this is I don't know. It's I really wanted to encourage the community aspect. But really quick, Cirilla says, "What things does Maker like to create?" Sorry if I missed that earlier.
Yeah. Um, so I'm a maker through and through. So I mean, if you put me in a maker space with, you know, laser cutters and vinyl cutters and CNC machines and all, I mean, I would just be doing woodworking and metalworking and hot metals and cold
Tinkering,
metals and tinkering,
yeah.
electronics. Um, and so 3D printing, you know, the whole gambit, you know. So and then I mean, I've learned how to, I don't have it nearby. I learned how to take a molecule from the protein data bank that they scan from human beings and then turn that into a solid model that I print
Oh
for
wow.
medical education. And that was part of my degree. As one of those things. The reason I love about the degree I was doing is like, hey, do this thing. And I'm like, let's see, what do I think is fun or interesting? And they're like, you know, do an online tutorial. And I was like, okay, we'll do an online tutorial about how a nurse educator can take a 3D model and pull it out of the ether and make it real and hand it to somebody and inspire them. You know, you've got
Wow, that's
students
so cool.
who are thinking about going to the medical field, and you even have doctors maybe, and somebody can correct me, but they, you know, thinking about things bonding together, and like clearly there's a socket and then there's a plug and and it goes like that, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's not actually true.
Right, right.
um, so yeah, I make tons of things. I made a documentary as part of a part of the degree. They're like, just make a video where you learn something, and I was like, I want to do a video on a cancer survivor who has something to say. I want to tell their story, and I've got 3 weeks to do it, and I had a lot of help and a lot of learn as I go,
Yeah.
which is
I love that.
the maker mentality.
Yes, I love that. Oh, Tom really quick says, I had a group of former digital media students start a clothing company called Gone in the Moment after graduation, specifically referring to the flow state they felt when making digital art. That's awesome. Brenda says, Flow, released in 2024 film, offers several key lessons, particularly around community resilience and the power of empathy. I think we can find common themes in different presentations. I love this. Cirilla says, totally agree with Maker on the variety of gaming via the event journals. It's been a game changer. Church is asking, did Maker steal one of Tom's guitars?
He did. I did. This, oh, it's over here. This
Yeah.
guitar did not go unnoticed when we started working on this. Tom was around. It's like, look at that.
Brenda says, Maker did this for me, and this was an amazing learning tool. How cool.
Yeah, she's talking about
The molecule thing.
the molecule thing. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Let's go back to our thing. Okay, so we checked in with everybody. Now we're gonna go into the takeaways. I believe we have 5 takeaways that we were going to talk about in this study. But I definitely encourage you guys, like I said, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment if you want to take a look at it yourself. But we thought that these would be really interesting to talk about. So, first takeaway is that most participants, 88% of them, considered video games had psychological or emotional benefits for them. 9% were unsure, 2.4% did not experience psychological or emotional benefits. The psychological outcome scores were higher across all domains for those perceiving benefits. Those who perceived benefits scored higher in terms of flow state, competence, autonomy, and relatedness.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to the fact that they went to a specific community in a specific community, and I think that's probably where they drew that conclusion that most of them could have had that idea to begin with, and that's why they decided to join the study.
Yeah. Yeah. So the other thing is like, um, I hear this when people write reviews a lot. Like, you either write a review when you super love something or where you super hate something,
Right,
right? Like, you had a really bad
right,
experience, you want everyone to
right.
know, or you
Yep.
like absolutely loved it. And I kind of feel that way about video games. Like, if someone approached me to do a video game study, I would be like, oh yeah, because I just want to tell you how much I love them. Um, but the thing that I found really interesting was this, right? Because
Yeah.
uh, actually, Stefan, explain what this
Mhm.
graph is.
Okay,
Like, what is
so
this
the left
showing? What are we looking
side,
at?
this is the people who had already, like, it's their game, whatever the game is that you see on there, that's the game they play. And then so then shows how much impact they believe it has, and then also, and then how much they scored,
Yeah.
those things. So you would expect people who are like, oh yeah, RPGs are my game, survival horror is my game, and I already think it has personally benefited me. So that translates when you ask them questions about it, and in a big way, because they're all on that plus side. You see the
Yeah.
0 in the middle, and you know, casual gamers and strategy didn't translate. I mean, relatedness. I mean, you're if you're in a strategy game, you're kind of doing it solo. So it's not really, even though you feel like it's giving you benefit, it turns out some of the scoring says no. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then on the other one, the if the person um, believes it has significant benefit, um, they these are the scores on what they actually like. So after the game, what their actual scores were. So a lot of them are in the positive, but the things like hidden puzzle games, people don't get competence off that. Flow state, um, I mean, there's a lot of these. CMS is a simulation construction management sim. Is what CMS is. And so you don't
Oh,
get
wow.
a lot of flow from that,
Oh,
apparently.
is that what
But
Minecraft is? I don't know if that's
yeah, it
Minecraft.
could be. Um,
Um,
but they felt like they got benefit, and they did score. They scored well. And then you see MOBA, which is it is a battle arena, MO battle arena, whatever MO is, massive battle
multiplayer
arena.
online battle arena.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah.
So even though people felt like they were going to get benefit, like, see how far they're in the negative. This study, when it was done, said that other studies showed that 60% of the matches in these battle arenas were toxic, and that
Wow.
there are terms coined during that time called griefing, where you would just pick a player and you would just pick on them, pick them and pick. And it wouldn't, there's no in-game benefit for either side. You're just being a bully. And that happened a lot. And so, but people still felt like they got benefit. And you see the double stars there. That means it's statistically significant, like like most of these are 0.05 levels of being significant. That's 0.001.
Yeah.
statistically significant. So that is a value that you need to pay attention to. So RPGs up at the top have that, and then the bottom, and then the MOBA has another double one in
Right.
there.
So
So
just to be clear, everything to the right of 0 is a positive
mhm.
benefit, right?
Yes,
And like the further right, the more positive.
the more. Mhm.
Right. Okay. And then obviously on the left is negative, right? A feeling of like unrelatedness or like a negative, I guess it's like psychological not well-being. I don't know
Not
what the opposite
well-being,
of.
like, you feel
Yeah.
bad about yourself. You feel
Right.
bullied, and you feel upset, and you feel
Yeah.
like people ganged up on you, or they're just,
Yeah.
that's why people, I think, in a lot of those like to play with their own friends. They don't wanna play with random people in random
Sure.
matches, because, it's very easy for you to start feeling bad about yourself, that I'm not capable, I'm not competent, I'm doing a bad job, I'm letting people down, and so
Yeah.
that has takes a hit. Your well-being takes a hit when you do that sort of thing.
So, okay, a couple things with
Mhm,
this, just because, like, I've played many kinds of games. Um,
mhm,
I actually find it interesting that strategy. Wait, what's a strategy game? Oh, like Civilization. Well, okay, that makes sense
mhm.
because there's no like main character. There's
Yeah.
there's no story, uh, like the RPG component of being able
Right.
to relate
Yeah.
to a
So
character.
relatedness in this sense, they couldn't
Yeah,
relate it to other people because they don't know what you're doing. They talk about you and only you, and you're the one answering the survey. And so, do you find relatedness in the game that you're playing? Do you relate to your
yeah,
character? Does your character match your goals, your values? And that doesn't exist in some of these other games like strategy. Um, we find that empirically, we find that all every day in Heather Does Play community, because we if we didn't find it in the game, which we often play games that have this component anyways,
yeah,
even the repos of the world have this,
yeah,
um, and we also have each other, and so we
yeah,
relate on a social level because we are socially in part of a community
yeah.
itself.
We have a shared goal, so yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's not in the game, it's like as a team we have a shared goal. I do find this funny that for casual games, there was a negative competence or a negative feeling of competence. I
Hmm.
think like with when I started playing video games, cell phones were not a thing, and now everyone has one. And I don't know what the data is, but I would be willing to bet as soon as smartphones became a household staple, people
Yeah.
started playing, like people who never played video games before were playing more solitaire or Candy Crush or
Hmm.
I guess solitaire is a strategy game, but the casual games that they um listed here, right here, this is their supplementary material: Angry Birds, Plants vs Zombies, and Candy Crush. So it's a lot of mobile games
Excuse me.
um for casual. And I just think that's funny because I think it shows that people who develop the casual mobile games, they know that it is like people standing in line, like trying to pass the time.
Hmm.
Like they
Yeah.
know it's not
Yeah.
someone who's necessarily gonna like, you know, play at their desk or whatever. Or maybe they are, but they're probably like passing time. Um, let's see. Uh Psychological well-being for vehicle sim. I'm surprised at how high it is.
Yeah, that one is a little, it's an outlier, off the chart. I'd like to see this game personally. Um, but yeah, I wish, did they even give an example in the
They
supplemental? Let's
did.
see.
They put train simulator. But
Okay.
I was
You
thinking
know,
like for vehicle, that to me isn't that like a racing game? Like
I think they're more on point with um the train sim. I mean, people who really love trains, and that could go with an
that's true.
airplane simulator.
Flight
Um
simulator. Yeah.
Flight
Okay.
sim
Okay. Yeah.
that, you own model trains, you build model train, like it's your thing,
Yeah.
and so yeah,
Okay,
they
that makes
they
sense.
probably probably get great amount of enjoyment in doing it and sharing it with others.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me check in with the comments. Church says, in recent years, video games have been my mental stress reliever. Cirilla says, gotta say, all this science for the presentation is so cool, guys. Love this so much. Maker's doing such a great job explaining all of this to us.
Thank you, Cirilla.
MOBA is like League of Legends or Dota 2.
Yes.
League is hella toxic.
Hell.
Cirilla played for a very long time. Sounds about right.
Yeah. See, great. Good validation there.
Yeah.
Still the case. Still the case.
I think the only toxic game that I played was Halo 2. That was
Okay.
20 years ago. And oh my God, I can't even tell you. As soon as I talked, the
Oh
guys
no.
heard I was, yeah.
Uh-oh.
It was so bad. I can't even
That's
tell you
terrible.
how crazy it was, but I loved it because I was so much better than them.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like I hated it because I was like, wouldn't you be happy that like girls are playing video? I don't understand like why isn't this what you want? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Isn't that anyway? Let's see. That's not true, Heather. StarCraft 2 had lore and story, even if it's a strategy game. Yeah, I think it depends on the game. StarCraft obviously has a lot of lore behind it. PVZ, not a strategy game. I don't know what PVZ is.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know about StarCraft 2, but my experience, I played League for 10 years, know nothing about the story. It was all about that toxic competition. My experience had lots of highs and lows. Gaming with HJP has been nothing but neat, though. Let's see. Oh, here's Tom. When I was doing flight training and playing Microsoft Flight Sim, there were huge positive psychological benefits for sure. Cirillo, too busy reading League chat, getting flamed by enemies and teammates alike.
Wow.
Pepper says, when I think vehicle, I think Gran Turismo. That's what I was thinking too. But I think Gran Turismo, there's a competition aspect. And I think for the vehicle sims, there isn't. Yeah, because flight sim, it's just
it's
you're
just
playing by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Plants vs. Zombies. Got it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. On to the next. Takeaway number 2. You want to take this one, Maker?
Yeah. So participants, no shock to probably most of the people here who play multiplayer games, would have scored higher on a social well-being and relatedness measures than respondents who only played single-player games. And again, it's built into the game. And then once you start building a community, whether it's your own little community or something that we've done here, you get a lot of social and other sorts of well-being or relatedness boosts just by the nature of you being on there. And you can talk to other, and as soon as you mention you play a multiplayer game, anybody who loves it just as much as you do will start talking to you. And so
yes.
you could be anywhere and you could be
Instant
making
connection.
social connections. Yep. As soon as you say, oh, I'm a full Final Fantasy player, and they're like, no way. Oh my God. Oh my God. We need to talk. Where are you at in the game? So I was reading another study where people were experiencing that. So that's not just my own personal experience, but they cited several studies in this, and one of those studies had a lot of comments about stuff like that.
So one of my concerns as an executive director who is starting a nonprofit encouraging people to play video games is I want to be very aware of the potential harmful effects of video games. I want to be aware of that, but also I think one of the things is this sense of community and the social aspect, because I think that when people, the negative reputation is gamers just live in the basement and they don't go out and they have no life and they just play by themselves and they're super isolated. Yes, that can be true, and I'm sure is true because it is based off of truth, right? Or a common belief because it's based off truth. But for me, what I think is really cool about HJP is that, it's all social. Like even when we are playing single player games, like all the other Final Fantasies except for 14, they're all single player. but we talk about it, right? Like we share, oh, who's your favorite character? What was your favorite Final Fantasy? Um, and it's just it. I like to highlight that digital media, online communities, and video games will not replace the value of in-person interaction. But there's value there, though. Like I met my husband on YouTube. I genuinely believe that you can build meaningful relationships through through things that are digital. Like even though it's digital, even though you can say it's fiction and it's fake and it's whatever, I think that's part of the immersive experience. And especially when you're playing with other real people, you
Real
can
people,
feel the
yeah.
same benefits that you would with any other group activity, whether it's a sport or, uh, you know, arts or whatever it is.
Yeah, and to
So
Jima's point, she had said that, it helps older adults with loneliness. They get online with other people, with the real people, and they can have as much fun as everybody else is having. And it can be, they don't have to be in the same location. They don't have to be in the same country. And you can come back together over and over again and build social relationships with people, and it can be a really helpful thing.
yeah, and
Yeah,
HJP
so
is global,
go ahead.
which is awesome.
It
Like I don't
is.
think,
We
yeah, I
have
think
time
like our
zone
yeah
contingencies.
multiple time zones. I don't. I think like Tom and I are usually the ones in the same state, and then everyone else is in a different one, right? Like that's amazing. I don't know. I think that's really cool. Um, okay. Or did you have anything else to add here, Stefan?
No, that we're good here.
All right. Takeaway number 3. Oh, you guys, as an RPG fan, I was very excited to see this.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah, go
they
ahead. Go
did
ahead. You do it.
respondents who played RPGs scored significantly higher in autonomy and relatedness questions. And on top of that, respondents who believed that RPGs were psychologically beneficial scored higher in their emotional well-being and their psychological well-being and their flow and their autonomy and their relatedness. So the top one where um, they scored higher in just a couple of those when they believed it had benefit, they scored across the board basically. So the implication here, as told through the study, this is in their words, there may be an inherent benefit to playing RPGs, but also an additional benefit if you're playing with the belief that it's helping you. So inherently beneficial is a really strong argument for playing RPGs and RPGs in general.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny because like I see life as an RPG, and I don't know if that's my ADHD or just like, I've been playing games since I was a kid, so that like kind of shaped how I see the world. But like with any task, I look at it as if I'm at level 1, and then I know that I got to put in the reps. I'm going to hate it, but I know I will level up, right? And I think like that relatedness, all the other flow state autonomy. Um, I mean, I think that's why I love RPGs so much. um,
Yeah. Yeah, I love playing. I mean, in person, like when we talked about Daggerheart and D&D, RPGs in person. You can play those. We have played. Through COVID, we did those online. Um, and it's where else can you get sort of that bonding experience where you're helping each other. You're you know you
yeah,
you have you're healing your friends because they got damaged. You're
yeah,
rescuing somebody. You take the blow or you defeat the monster. Everybody's in it together, and you're all cooperatively going toward the same goal. And it's not even just like we're defeating monsters and we're just doing the actions that it takes to do that, but there's also a story that's involved, and you have your own backstory and your own values and your own opinions, and there are agreements at the table regarding what's safe, with how they feel their best, and what our boundaries are, and so that people can feel like fully invested and not and know that there are boundaries that people are agreed to, and so those bonds, in our community and in with the video games themselves, and then in the activities that we do, is something that we take with us, and and we don't even know where these people are. But whenever I see someone in game, and I want to call out names, but I forget a bunch, so I'm gonna leave every time I see somebody, I'm just like, you're the best person ever. What do you know, I was in a game and I was like, oh my God, you can't fly here. You can't, and I need to get over this mountain, and you can't fly in this zone. And so we're in chat because that's what you do. And then next thing you know, I think it was Zero. It's like right next to me. I'm like, how did you get here? He's got this like limo, like, want to ride? I was like, dang, man, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think that's why I'm so uh passionate about
Mhm,
sharing these things and like doing this series is like clearly the obviously, you could say I'm biased because I'm a lifelong gamer, but I really like you're a perfect example. There are these benefits, right? Like these things that obviously you can get from other activities in real life, right? In
mhm.
person. But the fact that you can also feel this in the comfort of your own home without, spending a ton of money or anything. Um and I also like to argue that it's like so cool that it's spontaneous, right? It's like so hard to
Yes.
plan things with my friends. You gotta wait for all the
Mhm.
schedules to coordinate and all that. But this, it's like boom, you log on. There's
Yeah.
someone on to play with, at any
Yep.
time, uh, and then right away as soon as you log in, boom, like you can feel all these things, which is really cool. Um, Cirilla says 100% agree. Real connection through digital first contact is a new norm. We've been creating some really fantastic relationships here. All started with gaming, but is so much more now. Um, Kay hosted a Final Fantasy trivia night last night in HJP, and we were having a great time last night talking about the various Final Fantasies. Last night was a blast. It was so much fun. Um, and then Cirilla says, yeah, that was super fun. Literally, relatedness in action during last night's pre trivia event. Final Fantasy conversation. We talked for an hour about our gaming history before even starting the event. Yeah. Yeah. So, I do, it goes back to me to the non gamer, right? Like
Mhm.
you don't have to, and I think with so many of the games that we play, like take Repo, right? I think that Repo is a game that even if you've never played games at all, you can pick up the controls. Like it's possible, right? Like
Mhm.
it's not super. I would consider 14 to be a lot more complicated, right?
Yeah.
There's so much customization, so much personalization, and so many there's not one way to play. So
Mhm.
to master that competency is going to take a long, I mean the main story itself is 300 hours, so it's going to take a while. But with something like Repo, like even someone who's never played a game before can jump in with us. We'll show you how to do it, and right away you can kind of feel like you're part of a team, and feel like uh, you're in that challenge. You're feeling that sense of challenge in a relatively low consequence environment, right? Like you're not actually getting hurt. You're just getting hurt in the game, but you can like keep doing it over and over and feel like you're getting better and better at it. So, yeah. Did you have anything else to add here, Stefan? Let me go here.
Yeah, I mean, I think, relatedness, even these horror games that we play, where there are monsters and you're being attacked and it's spooky and there's all these things, it's fun. It's spooky fun. Like you're in trouble and everybody's hiding and we're hiding together. I mean, like we're like face to face, like under a bench. Like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And and then the best part is, again, Heather is very emotionally in tune with the game, and when anything comes back that's scary, she screams.
I
It's so,
I cannot help but I can't help but like just get so scared. It's so funny.
yeah,
Yeah, to this day, Robe still scares me.
yeah.
Um,
And I wouldn't have it any other way, because it's like, you could. it's so addictive and like, oh my god, Heather's screaming. What's going on? Is she,
Right.
is she still alive? Oh my god, we gotta go. And so really, I'm impressed that you reached that level of engagement in the game. I love
Mm.
haunted houses for that reason, like because the reduction of disbelief. It's not quite what you say it, but and say, just engage with the game, engage with the experience, um, and 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 have that fun and have that energizing kind of experience that people get, and it's very um, it relieves a lot of stress. So people who are regularly having stress or anxiety about whatever's going on in their life, they can use that as a means of relieving that, sort of getting that out of their system, and then you get into the build up, all the spookiness that builds up only makes the accomplishment that much better. The
Yes.
study showed
Exactly.
that
Hmm.
all of that leads to the experience being heightened across the board, and
Yeah.
again, the bonding that happens when you've got players that are going out of their way to like help you and they do something, they're like, or they're doing something fantastically acrobatic that they like, it's like, how are you
Right.
still alive? How are you doing that?
Yeah.
You were amazing. Or a clutch sort of thing where they push a monster off the ledge,
Yeah, some
and
kind of
everybody's
save or
some
yeah.
kind of save.
Yeah.
It elevates everybody. Everybody feels
Right.
good.
Yeah. There's a sense of shared accomplishment. And like going back to what you were saying about uh like when someone else is scared, it's like we all feel it because it's like,
Yeah.
what is the threat? That's gonna attack everybody. So yeah. Pepper says during a checkup, my doctor and I discovered we both play Final Fantasy 14 and we went way over and we now have fantastic rapport. That's
Thank
hilarious.
you for that. Yeah, that's exactly,
Repo
empirically what
story
we talked
mode
about.
when. I know the developers over at SemiWork who make Repo. Um, I'm really excited, but they love the lore. Like, so I'm sure as updates continue with Repo, we'll be finding more about the world and the story and why it is the way it is, and why we are these semi bots, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, back to the study. Let's do takeaway number 4. While RPGs were correlated with higher relatedness, no, that's not a sentence. While RPGs were correlated with higher relatedness, but not social well-being. An explanation for this is the in-depth of the characters' development, narratives, and social well-being questions all revolved around family, friends, and community. Am I missing a word there? I feel like I'm missing a word there. Let me
Um,
find.
okay, so they said that the RPGs are correlated to higher relatedness, but they're not correlated to social well-being normally. And
Oh, okay. I
yeah,
see.
so the depth of the characters. So like, as far
Okay.
as you can relate RPGs or relate Final Fantasy to a novel, a fiction novel that you're reading,
Yeah.
and how well the story is written, and they're all in on this stuff. So the relatedness can be high, but not necessarily the social well-being. And a lot of the social well-being questions that they were getting in the survey revolved around family, friends, and community. And it really kind of goes to show you that the game itself is great. You can be playing it on your own. You could be getting social benefit, and um, this is not to take away from that. But then if you add in community, it just takes that to another level where you now get benefits on another psychometric scale of social well-being.
Yeah. And I think that's because RPGs are typically single player. Like you
Yes.
play them by yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. It's funny because
Yeah.
in the study, I would have been curious to see like RPGs versus MMO RPGs,
Mhm.
right? Like
Mhm.
the massively multiplayer
Multiplayer.
online, something like 14 versus,
Yeah.
um, Final Fantasy 10, which is
Yeah.
totally single player.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I
But
have an
yeah.
example of this where, and this is
Yeah.
back to what I talked about when we said about when I finished the first, whoops, when we finished the first, I finished the first level of Final Fantasy 14. And so I'm in game solo, and I'm going to go into a building with these non-player characters that are like, oh, we have to go in here and talk. And so they're walking in and I'm walking in after them. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see Maple. And I'm like, Maple, what are you doing here? I'm in the middle of this fictional story. Wait, how are you? It was sort of a two worlds collide. And she said, go ahead, I'm gonna give you a ride. And I was like, okay, well, stay here. I'll be right back. I was like,
Yeah, you're
what?
like in the middle of a thing.
I'm going. So I go in, I have my conversation, I come out, and I'm like, she's like, how's it going? I'm like, you want to get the ride to your next location? I'm like, sure. I don't know. Yeah, let's do that. And so we did. And then the whole like parade and party and all that stuff happened, because that was like, this is the last thing you're gonna do before you do the finish, and you don't know it, even though we've been doing all these things that you should have caught on by now, but you haven't. So I'm getting well-being, the relatedness of the story, because I really connect with the story, and it's a great story, and I enjoy the characters. But then also I've got the community on the other side who's there to back me up, to give me props, to give me something that's like you can't get any other way. This is like, how could that ever happen in real life?
So check this out. I
So,
found the picture. I found a picture.
oh, the
So
a picture.
let me drop this in. Boom.
Yeah, there it
So
is.
as you can see, there are a ton of people in this photo, and
Ton.
Maker was playing by himself like 5 minutes before this. But all
It
of
was
us
so well
were,
coordinated.
yeah, we were prepared, and it's just a fun thing to um I don't it really that thing is a part of the 14 culture community, I want to say, is it really is exciting when you get to the next expansion. But what's cool about HJP is, like, we there is just such a sense of community. I don't think that you can do something like this in a server with like 20,000 other people, but like Maker is about to go, he's on the name of this quest. You know what that means, guys? And boom, like 30 minutes, we can coordinate, everyone log in, meet here. Maple, go pick him up in the car.
He's
Yeah,
gonna be
that's
clueless until the fireworks went off. I was like, what is going on? Why are you all lined up in mechs along this route? I'm
yeah, that was fun.
And it was like, yep, you're not too observant. But and then I think it led to like the most of that, all of that, and then realizing, winding it back in my mind, made me
You
it
connected
made
the
me
dots.
connected the dots, and made me the experience that much better, because
Right.
it was like, oh my God, they went
Yeah.
through all this trouble
Aw.
to, and not a lot of trouble, because it's digital,
Yeah.
but everybody didn't have to be there, right? And
Yeah.
everybody who's there wanted to be there, and it was a lot of people. and it was such a great feeling.
Oh, I love that. Um, yes, Kayan says the tradition needs to be preserved.
Yes.
Um, Let me see. Cirilla says screaming, dying, and laughing in Repo and Lethal is super relaxing, honestly. Not even kidding. Or relieving or whatever. Yeah, what Maker said. Gma says Lethal and Repo are so entertaining to watch. It wouldn't be the same without the scream and the panic voices of the players. I love watching. Um, and I think that's what's unique about these new games. I didn't know about these types of voice chat proximity voice chat games until HJP. And it's such a you couldn't play without the voice component. I don't know how you would play. It would be very difficult. I think the voice component to be able to play with your friends uh, is such a big part of the experience. That's such a unique, I would actually like put these games in its own genre. I know it's like you can, probably put in survival
Yeah.
horror or whatever,
Horror,
but
horror, yeah.
yeah.
But
Let's
they
see.
they do
Tom's
have a lot of extra things come with them.
Yeah. Tom says, I love seeing different sides of people. Like someone who is way better than I could ever dream of being in Final Fantasy 14 is just as much of a beginner as me in Repo or Lethal. Yeah, that's been really fun to play or see, is like, someone like Church who is a master, in Final Fantasy 14, like definitely one of the people who's like a mentor and um is someone that we can lean on for help in 14. uh Panics when he sees Slender in Repo. And that's really fun.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Mega
panic
Man
is a good
says,
term.
I think that's one of the beauties of online communities, seeing everybody's strengths be able to stand out. Yes, yes, yes. All
Yeah,
right.
and for those who don't know, the chat in these games is proximity chat. So if someone leaves the room, as in real life, it's harder to hear them. They're muffled. If they go 2
And
rooms away, you
eventually,
can't hear them at all. So
yep.
that's one of the scary parts, is when people aren't within your area where you can't hear them. You're by
You're
yourself
like,
and it's
I'm
dark
too far.
and there
Yeah.
are monsters.
Yep.
So so
Yeah.
that really adds to it a lot. It's really great.
Yeah, I've really been thinking of them as like digital escape rooms,
Mhm.
because you know, it is proximity based. So, it's the volume is based on your like correlated location. Why did I say that
Mhm.
so complicatedly? Um but also like you can warn, "Hey, I see this enemy," to your friends who are like
Mhm.
one room over. Be quiet because Huntsman is coming or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because Slender is scary. Church says Slender just appears out of nowhere. Oh man, that's funny. All right. We've got one more takeaway. So the final one is multiplayer online battle arena MOBA games show a reduction of well-being scores observed. Participants who believed that multiplayer online battle arena games had psychological benefits still scored lower in emotional well-being and psychological well-being domains. That is fascinating.
Yeah. 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 It's all about the people and and that contract that again with RPGs, it's the opposite, right? In person, we put on the board who has these phobias, these rules, these boundaries, and we'll make a list. That way we avoid all that stuff and everybody's comfortable the whole time, versus something, a battle arena, where people are flaming you in chat. they're
Yeah.
they're doing things that are unnecessary, that don't help benefit anyone, but they're flexing on people and things like that. That's how the young people say. And it's
I
a
see,
different
like, I don't
experience.
so, like, for Halo 2, I don't know if you know what Halo is, but it's like a first person shooter game,
Hmm.
but it is online. So there's a story mode that's solo player, but there is a, where you try to shoot each other basically. And there's different modes that you can do. You can do it like where it's the last man standing, you can break out into teams,
Hmm.
you do capture the flag, all these other things. But the thing that always fascinated me with Halo 2 um, was I was really good. Like I was so good that I checked the leaderboard like on the website and I was on there. So I was like
Nice.
pretty decent.
Wow.
Um, but every time I talked, the guys, it's always guys, would hear that I was, a girl and just completely freak out. So that's one. But two, there was a because this was all landline at the
Hmm.
time. People
Okay.
figured out how to like reset their LAN thing or whatever, and it would make like basically they could cheat. Like there was this
Okay.
very popular way of cheating that became um just like something everyone did. And to me, like every single lobby I went into, people would cheat. And I couldn't understand it because I was like, why? I don't understand how you can get the same satisfaction of winning
Right.
through cheating. Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then they would just like be super toxic behavior the entire time on top of that. I don't know if that's like a immaturity thing or what, but um, I feel like a lot of the aspects of what I think a MOBA game was present
Hmm.
there also. It was just like the
Yeah.
worst part of competition, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like the objective that they're seeking is not to win the game. It's just to be better than the other people. And in
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
so, if they have, emotions that they have inside that they are like need to get out and they're just like, people are mean to me, I'm going to be mean to these people, I'm going to feel better about myself. And the more they can, increase their ability to do that, the better they're going to be able to achieve that
Feel.
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in turn feel.
Yeah.
But that's just, my opinion.
Um, Mega Man says, yeah, this one shouldn't be that surprising. MOBAs lend themselves towards placing blame on others and being less introspective on your own mistakes. Yeah, so I think I played League of Legends like once. I had a friend who was really into it and was like, "Yeah, you should try." But I just felt like the skill, it's hard as a beginner where everyone else is so good. Like, how the hell am I? You're
Mhm.
jumping into the same random lobbies as everyone else who's been playing for years. So I was like, I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
My competence did not match, so I just stopped
Mhm.
playing.
Okay.
Um, but I can imagine that like it doesn't seem like a team thing. It definitely seems like, oh, that person sucks, and then just give them hell for it, you know.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I haven't played League. That's kind
Yeah.
of like the
And
impression I get, though.
and then, conversely, the things that we have, sprout to Ultimate Legend, you know, they're it's all about teamwork. It's all about helping people, putting people into roles. And maybe you can speak to this more than I can because I haven't been in it. But it
I
seems
mean,
like,
it's called Sprout to Ultimate Legend because the Sprout is someone who's never done it before. You know, like that's the point of it, is that we want the person who hasn't done it before and get them to the point. It's like what I would have wanted, right? I want to do this harder content, but how the hell do you do that when and it's not to necessarily the fault of the person who's really good, um but it's just the expectations have to be set, right? Like if the really good person is trying to win, you're going to be in the way of that, right? But
right.
if yeah, if we're like, okay, we have 3 newbies here who've never done this thing before, let's make sure they let's show them the ropes, let's show them how they can figure it out and work together and da da da. That's just a completely different experience, but it is something that you have to create intentionally, and that's what we
Mhm.
have in HJP. So, um, let's see. Cirilla says, or the inverse, seeing Sprout gamers like Tom and Heather in 14 become our Repo mentors. They lead us now. I love flexing on noobs with my skibbity riz.
Skibbity Riz.
Tom flexes like Manderville to them. Actually, have you done the Hildebrand quest yet?
I have not. I have
I
not. I
feel
think
like
I
you would
feel like I'm
love it.
missing out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing out. I should start.
Mega Man says part of it is that a mistake in MOBA is more impactful on the game results. So if you die once in Halo, it's not a huge deal, but one death in League can snowball into a team loss. That makes
Ooh,
sense.
that's
Yeah.
they should redesign the game. I mean, that's just bad. Like,
Tin
seriously?
says League of Legends is the most toxic game they've ever experienced. Wow.
That
I'm
tracks.
surprised you played it for that long, Cirilla. You do not strike me as a toxic person. um, oh, actually, you know what? We have one more takeaway. So let's go back here. Oh yeah. I thought this was interesting. All genders, male, female, and other, perceived psychological benefits from video games. But there was an inverse relationship between age and perceived benefit. This might have been because younger players were more familiar with the digital world and hence more receptive to the idea of deriving tangible real life benefits from gaming, whereas older adults might consider video games less acceptable and associate play with feelings of guilt or self stigma. Yes, I can
Yes.
definitely see that.
Hmm. As we get further along in school, it becomes less and less fun. We're in kindergarten, we learn how to be a friend, and we have playtime, and we have nap time, and we get milk. It's great. We get into college, and the next thing you know, it's every man for themselves, and people need to get the grades. especially in professional school, if you're going into like law school, for example, it's even more competition, and the outcome is to get a great job. And so, they don't have time for, doing something out of the box. If I ask a student in a law school, and I've experienced there, um, that do something in this kind of just broad strokes of what you should do, and they'll panic. They'll literally panic, and they'll say, "No, no. What do I need to do to get an A? Just tell me what that is. I'll do that, and that'll be the end of this." And you're like, "What I really want you to do is to learn and get critical thinking skills and show me the process and do something. As soon as I tell you what to do, I place a limit on you. I tell
Yep.
you this is what you do, and then I don't your creativity
Yep.
stops. If I say sky's the limit here, people, if you want to throw an egg off the ceiling of the school, off the roof, and see, try to design it so that when it lands in this little contraption that it stays safe. If that's what you want to do, we will find a way to make that happen.
Yeah.
And so that's where I come from and how I feel that school, and it's sort of my mission to revamp how school is done. I did a whole program at Purdue where we gave people scores based on their ability to get something, to accomplish something. And so it's not a grade on a paper, it's a skill. And then you have data or a paper or whatever it was to show you have these skills. And so those become badges, and those badges are transferable to a workplace where, again, an A in Italian 101 isn't going to tell them that you're going to be able to be fluent when you need to be fluent.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, well, I did get an A in 101. But if you have some evidence that shows that you have these skills and this competence, then that's something that you can take, and it's valuable in and of itself.
And I
And
think a
so many
lot of what
people.
HJP, like a lot of what we do is a figure it out. Like I don't know what a trivia night looks like, but
Mhm.
the way that Kay is going to design a trivia night is going to be different from whoever does a different kind of event or even the same event. And I think that's I love that, right? Like I embrace that so much because I don't know, I just like it's not even like you never know if someone can come up with something better, but I think that diversity and that creativity makes everything so exciting. Like even when you are doing the same event, it's going to be different with different people,
Mhm.
a different game, whatever it is. But the funny thing about this thing though is this last sentence here. Older adults might consider video games less acceptable and associate play with feelings of guilt or self stigma. And Stefan, you heard me talk about this. I know video games. I feel like there is this perception that they are indulgent. It's like a waste of time, right? Like to me, disproportionately slow. If you're playing a sport, no one would say that's a waste of time. But if you're playing a video game, it's a waste of time, right? That's just like obviously there's no data on that. That's my personal experience of what people's perceptions are. And I find it funny that they hypothesize that the reason why older adults might consider video games or that there might be discrepancy with the benefits that older adults play versus young is because of a self stigma, right? So like no one can be saying that video games are indulgent, but if I believe it, then I am kind of like hindering the benefit that I can feel, right? And I think that the self stigma does, I think, come from growing up in a world where video games were not a good thing, right? I was always getting in trouble because I was playing video games too much, and so that I carry that with me still, even though I'm obviously a grown person. um, and I do find it interesting that younger players are more familiar with the digital world because that has nothing to do with video games. That's just like living. You grew up in a world where Google was already a thing. Everyone already has a smartphone. Um,
Mhm.
that's interesting. I don't know. I just think that's interesting.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. I think I agree. I mean, I have the same kind of background where like if it was a game, if it was something like that, that's frivolous. You're not taking your life seriously, and
yeah, exactly.
you need to do something else because you will fail in life if you do frivolous things that aren't going to put you into a place that you're going to get good grades and a good job, and serious people get those things, and you frivolous folks don't. Um, and I think that's part of why it's taken out of education, because they think that no, you have to do these really boring, long, memorizational things. Everybody has to write a 30-page paper. And I know you hate writing papers, but that's the easiest thing for me to grade, so that's what you're going to get.
Right.
In classroom where I'm in, it's like, show me how you learn. I'm giving you autonomy. You show me how you learn in a way that inspires you. And if you can show me the learning, if you can show me the critical thinking, if you can show me the process, if you're making something, you can do a time-lapse video. It shows all the things that you were working on, how you got past the obstacles, show me in the work that you did, whether it's a painting, whether it's a video, whether it's music, poem, whatever it is, you show me that you learned something, what you were meant to learn is in there, and explain that, and have something that you're proud of. You can, you show your grandmother and say, look what I did. This is amazing. I'm very proud of this. You can create a rubric to assess that, and all those things will count. And not only do they get all these benefits, but they also get the side benefits of going on that journey of whatever it is that they're passionate about, and learning things along the way. And,
So, yeah, here's what I think is fascinating. I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but um, so you're doing this in law school, right?
law school.
In education, yeah, or in
Hmm.
the education system.
Hmm.
Um, what's really cool is that I think that stops, right? Like, it's cool. That is part of like a reason why I wanted to permanently build HJP, is because I miss college, like how easy it was to just be able to spontaneously hang out, learn something. You could pop into, obviously you had so many, there was a hub where there were all different teachers that were experts in everything. You could learn about whatever subject, blah, right? And there were a lot of like clubs and activities and stuff like that. And then, you know, then it's gone. It's just gone, right? You have, it's hard to
Yep.
make friends, and as an adult, it's hard to find
Hmm.
these kinds of um, opportunities. And I just think it sucks that it stops as an adult, right? Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think people get it in like different kinds of hobby clubs and social clubs and stuff like that, or churches or whatever.
Hmm. Right.
But
Right.
I think being able to have a digital space so that it could be open to anyone around the world who has an internet connection can go through these same experiences that you are offering in like a, you know, educational setting. Obviously you're doing it because there's obviously value there, right?
Hmm.
uh but to do it through video games for any adult, right? um I just think is really cool, because you, why should you stop learning critical thinking, right?
Right.
And the thing that you do for a student, we do every round of Repo, right? Like every
Yes.
round we're like, okay, we all died because of this enemy, how are we going to do it the next time we revive, right? Or
Hmm.
like we do the assessment of like, how can we, you know, we ran into this problem, how do we fix it the next time, or what should we do differently, or what did we learn, you know, all that. I think that's something that we should exercise, just like you do physical fitness. Like, I think you should exercise those. I don't know if it's a, like part of the brain. I'm sure it is, but just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
just think
learning
that's
through
something that you
failure
should.
and being comfortable with that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's
Because like in
see.
school, you get to turn in the assignment and you're done. Why? Maybe give me feedback on what I did, and then I can turn it in again. That would help the learning. It may be
Right.
maybe more work for the teacher. That's always a bad thing, but I won't say
Yeah.
that. But there is that mechanism that you could do something, get feedback, do something, and that's when we do, like at the law school, we do AI simulations, and you're in an AI simulation with people with personalities who have data that they know can answer questions organically as if they're a human being. And you can go through it. Maybe it's a negotiation, maybe it's a deposition, maybe it's just trying to elicit information from them to make a recommendation. You can go through that, get the entire transcript, submit that, get feedback from your instructor, do it again, and get better, and do it again, and it's like the accessibility and the availability goes way up, because who else is going to have the time to sit down with
Right.
somebody to go through a simulation like that? They used to do it by hand. They used to be like sending email to the instructor,
A
and they'd have to
volunteer. Yeah.
no, it was the instructors, and they would
Oh,
be in their character saying, "Oh, blah 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 blah." Someone's got to check the inbox. It was on them to do it. Now they're out of the loop on that. They give feedback on the entire transcript, and each student gets a chance to do top to bottom. Where before it was a 20-minute exercise in class, now it's taken over their entire course. They want it thread through in the entire thing.
wow.
Skeptics at the beginning, where they didn't want to engage with it, they thought, if you guys want to have fun and build something, we'll be your subject matter expert. But we're not going to do this. This is too risky. We do this. We have a West Coast initiative. We don't want to mess with that. We don't want to break anything over there. As soon as they saw the minimum viable product that we had, two personas and the interactions that they had, they were like,
Yeah. That is kind of like a
like we're
you're
all
almost
in.
like programming a video game. It's a
Yeah.
simulation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Um let's see. I'm checking in on the comments. You guys are all talking about different games like Dota.
They're having their own side
Ba, ba, ba,
conversations. This is
ba.
great.
Let's see. Remember how excited kids in kindergarten are to learn how to read and how much high school kids hate reading assignments? School might be broken.
School might
I
be
liked reading
broken.
assignments. I loved reading assignments. There's always the one or two weird kids who do, you and I, but most get upset at having to read a single paragraph. But all kids wanted to read when they were little until the joy was taken out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Cirilla says the social world built into the school structure is such a missed experience once you become an adult in the real world. So hard to make time for different social experiences with job and family. Yeah. Okay, I think that is it. Yes, that was it. So, what are our overall thoughts? I mean, for me, I think I found the differences between the genres very interesting, but obviously I am biased. I will always
Mm-hmm.
say how much video games have had a positive impact on my life. It's very affirming that you know, it's affirming in that you don't have to be a gamer. Like you could still be a casual gamer. You don't even have to use that label. Like the gamers are gonna game; they're already playing games. But for someone who is looking for a sense of community, is looking to do, to 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 do a like group flow state, that is such a fun feeling. And you could do that in the HAB community. We do that all the time with we have several events a week. We're very active, vibrant community. Yeah, and I'm just excited for everything that we're building. It's just been super fun. So I was really excited about this study. How about you, Stefan?
Yeah, this is a great way. I mean, and we talked earlier, the connection between school and fun and play being so important part of the educational experience, and people get so much out of it, but it gets discounted so easily. The faculty are saying it's too hard to assess. It's this, it's that. Students say, "What do I want to get an A? I don't want to be messing around." But in the right environment, I've had students like stay after class. We're making robots, and they're like, "We got to finish our robot. We can't leave." And like we're turning a light. Like, okay, well, you guys can stick around. We're gonna, class is over, but feel free to take as much time as you want. And then, also being a nerd and a gamer, in the smallest sense of the word, where I appreciate them, but I don't play them, um, in the before times. And and then also like being into Comic-Con and being into cosplay, wanting to be part of this community, really interested in all of the geeky things that you can do, and then also being all in on RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons, like, and then to be able to find a community that's both, that is a personal experience, a supportive experience, and then also a digital experience where you're following the storyline in a very cool game that is very immersive, and you get into this flow, and like it was like my evening activity, for quite, and now that I'm in the next level, I'm finding that competence is sort of holding me back a little bit. So I sort of have to. I learned a lot of what I did. Like, I learned that I have a lot to learn, I think, is what I did. Um, and so, having people all around to help bridge that gap, um, puts me back in, because otherwise I would take myself out. I would be like, okay, competence isn't coming up. It starts to get into the negative self-talk about how I'm not doing well, how I'm letting people down. I can't get into these other things because what if I'm the person that makes this fail? That helps mitigate all of that, and it's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm really happy to discuss this and have this be something, as if somebody didn't know, they know now. And
Yeah.
if you guys are, commenting here is awesome. If you're watching the replay, I want to hear more comments about your experiences, and whether it's in education or whether it's in gaming, because we're going to keep doing this. This is going to be a
Yeah.
series.
And I think, especially with what we're trying to do, what we're all building with HJP, I think fun and community, I find it lacking in 2025. I
Oh
think
yeah,
the world is very loud right now.
it is. It
And
is.
social media platforms and YouTube have gotten really, unfortunately, have gotten really good at dividing uh people and charging people in a negative way. Like, they're passionate, but they're passionate about being mad, right?
Yes.
And I think I believe that what we're doing here is a really good thing. Is when you are having fun, and you have this shared goal, and you're doing it with the sense of community, right? With peers. And what's cool about HJP is, like, it's their peers, but you've no idea, like, it's ages 20 to 74. Like, we're so diverse. It's not, and I love that. I love that it's not just a bunch of dudes or whatever. It's like it is such a vibrant, rich community, which is what adds to the uniqueness, right? Like, it makes it so, like, when you play Repo with this group of people versus another, you're gonna have a different experience because everyone's gonna approach it differently. Um,
Hmm.
and I I mean, obviously, I'm biased, but I'm happy that we are taking this approach, right, of looking into the research, because I can, I will talk about this all day, every day, and be the person, this is the hill I will die on. But, like, I want to show um, that there has been, peer reviewed, like, research done
Hmm.
on these things. So, all right, well, Stefan, thank you so much. This was fun. This was fun.
Oh,
What'd you
yes, it's a
think?
blast. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I could talk again, like you said, I could talk about this all day. That's why I'm in education. That's why
yeah.
all roads led to this sort of situation where I can geek out and talk about things that I'm passionate about, and I'm inspiring others, and hoping that what I say about these things will ring a bell for someone, and
Plant a seed, ring a bell. Yeah.
plant seed.
Um, yeah. And if you are new to Heather Just Play, you can find out more info and also find the link to join our Discord server, which is the home of where our community is, over at heatherjustplay.org. If you're watching us on YouTube or if you're listening to the podcast, definitely go check out our YouTube channel. It's just HeatherJustPlay. And Stefan, do we have any idea what our next study is going to be?
Do we?
I haven't looked yet.
No. I read a lot of studies. I mean, because like a study is a study of studies, and so
Right.
I've read a bunch. But as we talked about, I think moving forward, if we have an idea of an aspect of
Something we want to
play
examine.
or of
Mhm.
community, we can be targeted and specific. I think this was bit a little bit targeted on the sense of well-being and the benefits. And there's a lot out there, and I think it'll be fun just to start narrowing it down and start figuring out. And if you guys have any suggestions of what you thought,
Yes.
put them in the comments. If you're watching
Yeah.
replay, go ahead and suggest a few things, because we're open to what you want, and this is really for your benefit. And so you have a part of it. You can have a part to play in this whole
Exactly.
thing.
So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas, feedback, we are open to it. There's also a contact form on our website at heatherjustplay.org if you want to reach out to us specifically. And that's it. So thanks everyone for tuning in to the first episode of The Lobby. Stay tuned. I'll make sure to schedule the next one whenever we get that going. And thanks for tuning in. Bye, everybody.
Bye.